This interview with Xbox Era and Phil Spencer confirms something that I've said before. Now, I'd, be tempted to make you sit here and watch the whole video, but for the TLDR, Phil Spencer, basically confirmed something that I had shown in a graph. He said, very short statement, obviously we make more money from our consoles. That's all he said. And I remember you guys that have been watching these videos, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. That's why I'm giving you the TLDR before we dive into the meat and potatoes. I did this little analysis where I showed Call of Duty numbers, what you see on PlayStation side, what you see on Xbox, Steam, and all that. And even with all that annual revenue from Call of Duty, Xbox will be taking home about $1.4 billion if I were to analyze that Call of Duty Black Ops 6 took home or sold 30 million units. That's basically the number I went with. Even though when you look at Call of Duty 2022 and look at Call of Duty 2023 and see what the difference was from 2022 to Black Ops 6, you see that there's like a 75 million unit gap. And so you can split them however you want. We realized that when it was all said and done, that Call of Duty is dwarfed by Game Pass. Game Pass is coming home with at least over $3 billion. Call of Duty each year, $1.4 billion. So Phil Spencer confirmed that from the console, they're making more money. Now, this is just on the subscription side. It's crazy, right? That only Game Pass by itself is on the subscription side, bringing in about $3 billion annually, if not 4, projected by folk to go to 5 because of PC and its own growth in the subscription side. Now, here's the thing. With the other games, in terms of third party, all that put together, you also realize that the Xbox console's game sales also bring in 70% for Xbox, and where they sell their own first party games at 100% adds to that pool. So all this I say, just to go ahead and pretty much say that this whole conversation where the gentlemen that actually were hosting this podcast seem to almost be tiptoeing around the question of what's going to happen with Xbox with their games going everywhere, should easily have just considered that the data is right there in front of them. That all the talk about Xbox hardware doing this and Xbox being third party is easily resolved by where's Xbox making the most money? And when you answer that question, you can't marry it with the thought of Xbox actually doing away with hardware. No, it's like logic. It's basically where logic is going to break. And a lot of people don't want to address this because it's going to break their brain. Because once they realize it, they're going to look stupid because they've taken the stance. And it's on Twitter going on. Everywhere you look on Twitter, Xbox hardware, abba hardware, Xbox hardware, Xbox not going to make hardware. I can't believe what Phil Spencer says. What Phil Spencer says and what the reality is simple. You could just look at the reality and ignore Phil Spencer. I came up with these numbers before this interview went live, or before I watched the interview at least. They were talking about it. When did they put it out? They basically put it out 21 hours ago. This particular document, if you want, I can share with you. You can look at the history. It was at least a week ago. Anyone could go ahead and look at this stuff and see it. So, if you came for the TLDR, that's it in 3 minutes. But we're going to watch this, and we're going to see how this all plays out. And I'm not saying that they did anything wrong. I'm glad that they put the questions out there. But, it's very interesting at the end of the day.
The Dev Direct itself, fans have gotten used to over the last sort of 18 months of PlayStation announces for games. And you guys didn't shy away from it this time on your own show. Like, typically it's been like, we'll talk about that afterwards. We'll put a press release out or a blog post. But you're just showing the PlayStation logo now. I mean, we've embraced the future here at Xbox Hero. We understand, like, the bigger picture here. But, is this just, hey, this is the Band-Aid off, guys. This is, we're still going to be different decisions, but this is the new era. Get used to the way things are going to be. Like, how would you frame that to the community?
I think it's just being honest and transparent about where the games are showing. And we actually even had this discussion last year for June Showcase. And we couldn't, by the time we kind of made our decision, we couldn't get all of the assets done. And it felt weird to have some of them in and some of them out. But I just want to be transparent with people. If we're shipping on Nintendo Switch, we're going to put that. If we're shipping on PlayStation, if we're on Steam, like, people should know when the storefronts where they can get our games.
He's been on Steam since, like, forever. I mean, and so this is basically the crazy thing about it. They're on Steam with their software. I put the Steam numbers here. Like, if you take Call of Duty and you spread it apart, right? You give PlayStation the biggest piece. You give Xbox the second biggest piece because of, maybe potentially people who are playing these games. You look at maybe Matt Piscatella's data set, right? You just take this, You just do all this, whatever. Take even random numbers and take the pie and split it that way. And then go on Steam and then go on Battle.net, which is their other PC platform, which they take 100% of the revenue on. You will realize that even putting your games on Steam provides just an external market piece. But at the end of the day, majority of their stuff is basically tied to their console on the core. It's not feasible for them to do away with their console when this green is what their console is bringing in from one specific source. Now, when I ran these numbers, Xbox itself is doing this, which is the red. So the highest and basically the second highest are all tied to console. Many people don't realize that Xbox is also selling games on their consoles. These people pretend like games don't sell on Xbox at all. I think that's probably where it is. Maybe people are faking that they're Xbox fans and complaining about this stuff so that the whole conversation seems like it's legitimately Xbox fans, or people who have fear of missing out, people who are burned that they are not going to play list wars. Mm-hmm.
But I want people to be able to experience our Xbox kind of community and our games and everything we have to offer on every screen we can. And obviously not every screen is equal. Like there's certain things we can't do on the other closed platforms that we can do on open platforms, clouds, different. But games should be the thing that we're focused on. And this strategy that we have allows us to do big games while also supporting our native platform, from hardware to the platform and services that we have. And that's going to be our approach. And I know it's not what everybody else is doing, but I just believe games should be the thing that's at the forefront. Maybe it's because of how I've grown up in this industry. I came building games. But I think the games are the things that I see growing in their strength in what we're doing. Yeah. And it's because more people can play. So
I share his view on availability of games everywhere, because games are the driver. Games are the big reward. For anybody that has a development firm, getting your games to places is going to reward your teams. Everybody believes in it. Even PlayStation believes in it. They absolutely do. Even if they don't believe in it, they need it. The market is now holding their neck and saying, believe. Like, you know what I mean? Like, as the market is holding PlayStation's neck, it's like it's patting its back and it's coughing up those games to Steam. Xbox is already comfortably doing Steam stuff and has been doing Steam stuff for years. This is best of 2022. Forza 5 is chilling on there. Even PlayStation bringing old games is seeing some of them even chill on the best 100 or more games on Steam every year. Look at Marvel Spider-Man Remastered in the best of 2022. Yeah, it made its way in the silver category. So they're doing the exact same. You know what I mean? They're doing the same thing. At the end of the day, but still, they're both maintaining their consoles because they make a lot of money on their console ecosystems. A very simple premise that many, do not want to, pretty much embrace, even though it's the reality. They avoid it and run around it and go complain and be unhappy.
Yeah, just trying to be open and transparent with people.
Yeah, it's funny as well. There was a radio host in the UK called James O'Brien, and he was on his radio show today. I don't know if you saw the clip going around on Twitter, but he was talking about how he's a PS5 guy, but he's also an old grey beard, and he was like, I want to play Indiana Jones. So he loaded it up on his Samsung TV and played the entire game through cloud.
Yeah.
Belular Gaming, after his, crappy video that he made the other day where he cited Chris Dring's so-called 80% toss around Game Pass cannibalization figure, even he said, the only way Microsoft's going to get money from me is if that Indiana Jones game shows up on PlayStation. So feels like I'm going to force feed you that hate Microsoft, you that pretend like you hate Microsoft games, you that act like PlayStation is like this whole thing, and those of you who actually want these games, you all get to give me money for them. That's literally it. I mean, it's such an interesting business strategy that's counterintuitive to how gaming has been done in the last few years, that everybody is freaking out about it. Like, literally everyone is freaking out about this thing.
Really? I think that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah,
great. Let's do more of that. Like, as an old person now, I feel like if I was a kid, I'd be in hog heaven with Game Pass. Like,
you're not old, dude. Come on.
What's really funny is a lot of the folk that come out here and talk nonsense about Game Pass would have killed for it in the times of their lives when they were first getting their feet wet in the work market, building themselves up as gentlemen, growing up, earning money, and understanding the value and how challenging it is to basically make money. Now, many of these folk have money, and to them, Game Pass is basically an abomination. It's like the person that climbs and pulls a ladder from, underneath them so that nobody else can climb. So in their minds, Game Pass is trash. PlayStation's doing the exact same, almost the exact same thing, but with worse value when compared to one another, charging $17.99 for their premium access, right? PlayStation Plus Premium. And you can't even find anything of a premium experience there because Xbox will give you their games day one when you're on the premium, which is called Game Pass Ultimate tier. But these folk call it something else. They've tried everything. It cannibalizes sales. It reduces the quality of games. All these stupid pedantic things that they put out that have all been debunked. And now PlayStation is doing it right in front of them. I hope you guys realize that during the PlayStation Showcase, there's a game that's going to be launching on the PlayStation Premium tier. Did y'all miss it? I can't remember the name. When they said it, it said it's going to be launching on the PlayStation whatever, or something like that. They're going to literally be launching these games straight into, PlayStation Plus. There's an entire list of games that have already launched on PlayStation Plus. None of these same complaints nor concerns were actually put out there, which is to show you that a lot of these folk, they wish they had Game Pass. It's so weird sometimes when you see it, right?
I look older than Nick, and he's 44.
Yeah, John's
I've had a
younger
hard
than all of
life.
us. Yeah.
Well, first, I just have to call it out because my friends at Machine Games and the quality of indie, like it's a game I'm going through retail builds and
So good.
taking my time. I'm in Thailand right now but so good. But yeah, like who does it like it doesn't really benefit people to keep games and
it doesn't. All these folk that have been talking about, these exclusives and all that, this is why you're going to eat another Days Gone remastered. Because what's the benefit? The benefit is instead of you getting a Days Gone Part 2, the game didn't have enough of an audience to bolster it to allow for the development team a second chance. You got to understand that the reason this game did not have a chance, yes, it came out buggy, but Spider-Man 2 came out buggy. Y'all bought it and y'all defended it. A lot of bugs everywhere. Don't try to feign, it came out buggy. The developers fixed up the game. They did everything that they could, but they never got the chance to make a sequel. Yet, you want to sit there and tout it that system of exclusivity is some, golden, practice or whatever it is. It's a bunch of nonsense, guys.
Used to be the fact that the largest thing in our industry were the platforms. The largest thing now are the games.
They are. The games are driving, they're driving the industry forward. It's insane how many games are out there. Platforms can't keep up.
And I think that's good things for the games industry. Like that's what the industry is about. Storytellers of all sizes being able to tell their stories through the games that they create and allowing more people to play. I want Xbox to be the platform that enables that. That's why I loved at the beginning of the showcase of the Dev Direct, we could put up all these games are Xbox Play anyway.
Right way to open.
Right? And it's like they're on cloud. We've obviously done our work with not only is cloud part of the Game Pass portfolio, but you're seeing more games added to the buy your games and be able to stream your games. Allow people to play games. Like that's a good thing, not a bad thing for this industry. And especially in an industry that we all see it. Like it's struggling to find growth. Game costs are growing. So keeping restricting where those games can be played is not helping the games themselves. And
I mean, how many studios have launched these games? They're winning awards in some cases, but they're barely hanging on if investors don't come and fuel money into them or something, and they, in some cases, go away. Like PlayStation shut down a studio right in front of you, canceled its game because nobody bought it, and then shut down another studio just because. Neon Koi and Firewalk. Restrict your games to your own detriment, basically.
I think we should optimize for the best games that we can have in this industry.
It's a damned good answer, I think. It's funny. I've seen a lot of people repeating something that you said back during the whole Activision Blizzard drama and the FTC about how Sony use the 30% that they make on Xbox published games on their platform to kind of reduce your standing in the market. But I saw a great point from Sam Tolbert on Windows Central. He's like, well, what about the 70% that they make? Like, it's funding more games for all of us to play. Like, can't we focus on that? Like,
well, they can't. Do you know why they can't? Because there's a conspiracy that Xbox is bad. Why would they focus on the John Clark of XboxEra.com? This is the first time I'm actually seeing your work, but are you kidding me? You're trying to talk to these so-called console warriors? I cannot stand this console fanboyism sometimes. It's a little weird. You're trying to ask them to actually step into reality? Ooh, that's a high ask.
Console wars is a social construct after all, right? Like,
no, and it maybe not what I was going to say on Stand at the time, but yeah, like I would love to make all of the money for all of the games that we ship, right? Like, obviously we make more on our own platform. It's one of the reasons that investing in our own platform is important.
That's where the video was going. It took 16 minutes of your time to get here, but I wanted to go ahead and point out that this is pretty much the reality. They're making a lot of money on their platform. Why would they abandon the platform? I've told y'all before, anybody who's telling you this stuff is gaslighting you, or they're purposefully being obtuse. Some of them, they'll have to throw insults into the mix to make it sound like, in some cases, they are, legitimate in their whatever. I had to reply to this user, the Sega channel just now, where they said this. So now, because Game Over 30 said that this stance from this interview is the most consumer-friendly thing he's ever seen. And this person says, so now EA and Epic are consumer-friendly too? No one is going to buy an Xbox if their games are elsewhere. We'll take the 109% of the money if you come to our consoles with less games. But we also want 70%. We currently can't get it. Give me a break. You guys are cucks. That's what this person said. The Sega channel, man, I don't know what in the world is bringing this very interesting conversation. But I said, relax, If no one buys an Xbox, how are you affected by it? And I'm sure these people, at the end of the day, I don't know what it is. I don't know what their goal is. But I really do have a very interesting paradigm to actually go with. And I think it's one that's going to pretty much expose this whole framework at the end of the day. Thanks for watching the video. Appreciate you guys' time and audience. And hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.